Oh, good.
We're going chasing.
Hello there, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Hello, now, and welcome to...
We're going chasing.
Now, we have a lot on the agenda, lads, so we'll cut the chase and get straight down to the business.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of We're Going Chasing. Killian, you've got the shirt on you. You were at Fairyhouse today. How did you get on?
Not too bad, yeah. Just in the door now. The last sort of hour or so. Yeah, savage day out. Like Fairyhouse, one of the best tracks in Ireland or the UK. They do a lot right up there. They put on a good show there today. It was a nice crowd in it now. In fairness, I think it was. Don't know, it was as much as last year's, but very cold weather today, so maybe that kept a few at home.
Yeah, as Baltic all weekend really. It was nearly a day to be sitting in by the fire. I was out in it as well, but not racing. But look, Killian, we'll get straight into it. Top of the green, we brushed off it on Friday, but Willie Mullins had a lovely four-timer, Thurles, fun, classic getaway, Daddy Longlegs, Ilete Toms, all winning. I know you were quite taken with classic getaway in particular.
Yeah, I was. I thought it was sort of Allaho-esque from him. Like real domination from the front. Be interesting to see where they go with him. Like, you know, they have a good few of them type of horses. Like, I'd say he's obviously better than Hattons, but you know, like these sort of grade 1.5 horses maybe. You know, up in company. So it'd be interesting to see what they do with him. Like, geez, if Allaho wasn't there and he rocked up in a Ryanair, and you told me he gets to lead. Now I know there'll be plenty of pace in it, but you know, he'd be a dangerous enough proposition. I think he jumps really well, and Danny, no better man to do it from the front either, is there?
No better man at all to do it from the front. The one thing I would say about that race was that Hattons did return lame at the end, and I know you're saying he's a better horse than him, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. We've seen Classic Getaway come out and win a beginner's chase last year, didn't we?
Yeah,
and he wasn't seen.
That's really strong one. No, he ran in Punchestown.
How did he get on?
He was well beat in Punchestown, but he won that really hard beginner's chase. The one in Gorn, he was beaten 15 lengths by Farrens, but that was off a fairly substantial break, so you'd forgive him that. And he was held up that day as well. So
I remember that.
Different type of ride there the last day.
Yeah, the one that probably stood out to me the most from those four was fun. I thought it was a very taken performance. Just checking the race and post rating there to see what they made of it. 125 is average enough for a maiden hurdle, really. We had Jericho de Rapinay then at Newbury. You know, one as easy as you like visually. Very impressive. And just, I suppose, my eye is drawn now to the race and post rating there on it, because I'm just after looking at funds, and it's only 120. So whatever metrics they use, it didn't stand out to them too well. But he could have won by a lot more, and he's probably one that will step up and trip as well, Killian.
I don't know. I'd say they might keep him at 2 miles.
You reckon? Good,
judging by what Henderson was sort of saying about him. I'd say he could be a 2-miler this season anyway. But yeah, I'd say he's a lot of speed, and he was visually very impressive. Any horse that wins like that on the bridle, even if they only win by 3 or 4 lengths, it doesn't really make a difference. But it wasn't given a hard race. Presume he'll be stepped into integrated races now. I'm not sure where they're going to go next with him. I don't think Nicky knows either, I'd say, but I'm sure Frank Berry will have an idea of where to go, and he's probably one of the better ones now I've seen, I'd say.
And keeping on the Newbury side of things, Gavin Sheehan, and That's All Right Gino, what a ride, last to first in the Gold Cup there. Malheur Mission for John McConnor ran a super race there in second. Well strung out as you'd expect in a big handicap like this, but a great ride by Gavin, and nice for him to get a winner like that.
Yeah, it was. Jesus, like he's a horse I actually liked last year a lot. I had him backed in the plate in Cheltenham. I was all over him. Like I couldn't have had enough on him really. And he was pulled up that day, went to Ayr and won a grade 2, then beaten a nice horse, Thunder Rock, there. And he didn't really run any race in the old roan at all. But yeah, the step up to that sort of 3 mile 2 trip now looks to have brought out a good bit more improvement in him. And yeah, Gavin Sheehan, ice cold. Like Jamie Snowden's picking up a nice few horses now, isn't he? Like he's got him, he's got You Wear It Well.
Yeah,
Law was a nice horse there last
yeah.
year, won the Paddy Power. So he's a few nice ones there to sort of go to war with. Yeah, and Gavin Sheehan's a nice jockey in fairness. But Mallory Mission, I think he lost his 2 front shoes in the race, so you can probably
Oh,
mark
did he?
him up. Yeah, you can probably mark him up a tiny bit,
Yeah,
because of that.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it was
He was reasonably well backed as well, actually.
Mallory Mission.
Um, Sorry, Mallory Mission, yeah.
Yeah, he was. So
And then finally on that race, I suppose your man Big Genius is back in third, ran a decent race again. You're probably a small bit disappointed in it, but he's knocking about there.
he
Um,
is, yeah.
you know,
And I think like his record at Chepstow is probably what you're drawn to. He's 3 out of 3 at Chepstow, so going to the Welsh National maybe that
hmm,
might that might help him out. But he's had a tough race there, so I think he's favourite anti-post for the Welsh National. He's about 7-1, so we'll see if he does go there. But I'd
right.
imagine he will, given his record at Chepstow.
Yeah, we must get on to there's a friend of ours, a great listener to the podcast, Glenn Corrigan. He prides himself on picking the winner of the Welsh National every year. He throws probably 2, 3 darts max at it, and I think he's got the winner the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
So
Glenn down in Australia though, he mightn't be as clued in this year.
he mightn't be as shrewd, yeah. But what we'll do is we'll get on to Glenn actually for our preview, and
Yeah,
when
yeah.
we're previewing our Christmas race, and we'll tell you Glenn's two
We
or
get a
three.
little video message in from Glenn from Sydney.
I
Uh,
don't know now if we get that from him, but
we
if
might. We'll
if
try
we
anyway.
if we do, we'll put it in.
Mm.
But Elixir Do Nuts then was very impressive. Won the big handicap off 151. To be honest, I was looking at him before the race, and I was keen enough on him because he is a nice horse, but I was thinking it's going to take a career best from him to go and win, and I wasn't really confident in taking that jump with him. But career best is what he went and did, and fair play to him.
Yeah, Savage. He's a really cool horse. If anyone follows us on Instagram, and if you don't, do follow us. It's very good. Um, there was a someone racing TV put up a video of Elixir the Nuts, and it was from him in making his race course debut in the UK back whatever 4 or 5 years ago. And he was a brown horse. You could see the grey sort of coming through him a small bit, but now obviously fully grey. Like, so that's pretty cool to see it. So that's one good thing about him. But yeah, he was very impressive. He's a savage jumper. Like, geez, he stood off some of them the last day, and like even the jump at the last to real seal the race was outrageous. Just stood off it and pinged it, and like they were a mile clear of third as well. So it was a savage performance, really.
It was, yeah, and I like what you said there about the colour. I've never seen a horse change colour. Maybe it's more common than I think, but I've never seen a
Yeah,
horse
I'd
change it
never
that
heard of it.
drastically. Never heard of it, no.
I said it to the father, and he said he'd a heifer before that went from a sort of a gingery color to very dark brown. That like there was a noticeable
Okay,
change
yeah,
in,
yeah,
in,
yeah,
in the
yeah,
animal. So it
yeah,
does happen, but
yeah. It's
rare, I'd say.
a very noticeable change for
Yeah.
Elixir do Nuts there anyway. Looking at Fairyhouse on Saturday, Killian, the beginner's chase was a great race. We knew it was going to be an interesting race to watch beforehand. We were thinking that we get pointers for the RSA, pointers for the 4 miler. And I was quite impressed with what I saw just in the race in general. And I put up a tweet there on Twitter afterwards. And like, if you're looking at the first 4 there, Corbett's Cross, Three Card Bragg, Monty Star, and Nick Rocket back and forth. I think potentially we could have the winner of the RSA and the winner of the 4 miler in that race. I think the RSA is looking fairly weak. I do like Florian Porter for it, and what I'm seeing there wouldn't overly worry me. But at the same time, Corbett's Cross does look a nice animal, and when he's up in trip, he'll be better again. And Monty Star is another one that I'd be thinking could be good enough to be RSA bound. And then for the 4 miler, I could see Three Card Bragg possibly going and Jamie Codd on his back, depending on the McNeils there, if they're happy enough to go to the 4 miler, that's the other question. And Nick Rocket also. Nick Rocket was in my 10 to follow, and I actually flagged 4 miler for him. So I was probably happy to see him finish back and forth. And I know Patrick Mullins mentioned a few different horses for the 4 miler. I saw some quotes last week on Twitter, and one of them was Nick Rocket. And I think that sort of run that I saw from him would be making connections, think at this stage in the season that maybe that's the long-term target. But a good race, Killian. I'm not sure what you thought of it.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good race. As you said, 4 really good horses, and another decent horse back in 5th is 130 hurdler, I think, Ami Deji. So it's an 8-year-old but lightly enough race, 28 runs, so it could be one for a handicap later down the line. But yeah, the first 4, yeah, I'd agree fully with what you say. I think Corbett's Cross and Monty Star, it'd be horses that'll end up in an RSA. I'd be definitely going, if you want a runner at Cheltenham, I think I'd be going to the 4 miler with 3 Card Bragg anyway. Maybe he needs it a bit softer than that, but you could end up with soft on the Tuesday, I don't know. But I think he'd relish real extreme distances, to be honest. And then Nick Rocket, his jumping was probably the worst of the 4, to be honest, I thought. But I'm sure he'll improve a lot for that. Like his first run of the season last year was in a bumper, and he's beaten 5 lengths. So I'd say he'll come on along for that. But Monty Star was the one that probably impressed me the most. He's a horse I sort of have fancied for the Bartlett last year, off the back of his run in a maiden behind Shambally Kid. He then won a grade 3 in Clonmel, the Sure Hall. He beat Hidden Valley Lake and Search for Glory. But I think that race just sort of knocked the shite out of the 3 horses, to be honest. And they all ran really below par at Cheltenham and Search for Glory and Aintree and Punchestown as well. But I think Monty's Star jumped the best of the 4. He's definitely going to improve for a run, and that trip is too short, like it is for all 4. But I'd say there's a bit of a Manila Indo about him, is there? I don't know. It's the same. I know it's the same colours, but
colours.
Like, even his profile over hurdles, like, you know, winning that, they're running that race in Clonmel after being a maiden, you know, and I think he's definitely going to sharpen up for the run, and the fact that he jumped probably the best of them until the last, basically, was his only real mistake. I'd be happy enough with him. I'd a few quid on him before the race for the RSA. 33s probably wouldn't put me off. I think he's a better bet than Florian Porter is at 16s. So
well, he's a bigger price anyway. But
yeah, I'd be pretty sure he'd be in front of him.
Would you?
Yeah.
Well, he's a lot to show if he's to be in front of him, to be honest. Now, I do take your point on board that obviously he's a lot more unexposed, and that he very well may improve, and he's got to jump in behind him to improve. But I'm quite happy with Florian Porter, to be honest, at 20 to 1 actually.
20 to 1. Sorry,
I'll correct you on that.
No,
moving on from there, Killian, Firefox was fiercely impressive. Obviously had 4 starts in bumpers, so he was well used to the racetrack, but this is the first time over hurdles. The market was second time over hurdles, apologies, the market was fairly keen on him, to be honest. He was back from 15 to 8 into even money, while Ballyburn drifted a small bit. Firefox obviously had the run behind him as well, but quite impressive.
Yeah, he's a horse I liked. He ran a good race on hurdles debut last year in Navan, and for whatever reason he was sent back to bumpers, and I was there that day in Naas when he got beat by Loch Lynn, and to be honest, like, I've no idea still how he lost that race. Since then, like, he's won 3 bumpers since then. Like I saw someone say on Twitter, and it's actually a very fair point, it takes some animal to win 3 bumpers in Ireland. Doesn't matter really where you win them, but to win 3 is a fair bit of performance. But yeah, he was very good. His jumping was really slick, I thought. I think Jack sort of, like, he sort of got a small bit of a freebie. It was, I don't know, Ballyburn, maybe the bit of race fitness on the side of Firefox was the difference, but I'd imagine both will be better up in trip. I'd say you could toss a coin the next day if they ran at 2 miles. Say you could toss another coin at 2.5. Um, they're both very, very good.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, just looking back at his first maiden hurdle start at Navan last year, I forgot he ran in it. You were saying you don't know how he was betting the bumper. 113 rated Hauteur Dark for Thomas Gibney, and Kilberry Warrior for Oliver McKieran, 116 rated horse. Both finished ahead of him that day.
Yeah.
And obviously that's when they decided to revert to bumpers for the year. And just interestingly, one thing, because I did flag the market there for that horse in the bumper, Jalan Dudaries, actually, he probably deserves to be in the green himself. He was very impressive. But the market was strange on him. He was 11 to 10 in the morning, drifted the whole way out to almost 5 to 2, and then he went off 11 to 8 again. It's rare you see such a drift, and then for him to come back in like that, I thought. But
Yeah, and hose up.
and hose up. Yeah, yeah, very, very impressive. To be fair, next on our list, Killian, is Connor Stone Walsh. He's
Yeah.
only had 3 rides over obstacles, and he's won 2 of them. He won the first 2. We had a loser today, but he was 2 from 2 on Saturday evening after winning on the Galway Gallivanter at Cork last week, and then going on and winning at Solness at Fairyhouse this weekend.
Yeah, very good, really, isn't it? Unbelievable start.
Fair
I
play
think he
to him.
said to Gary O'Brien in an interview yesterday, it's all downhill from here,
I
really,
saw that.
when you're 2 from 2. But yeah, I thought I didn't actually see the handicap he won in Cork, but geez, I thought he gave Solness a really good ride yesterday in the listed handicap. Like I'd say his Solness probably isn't an easy ride. He pulls hard enough, to be honest, and like he produced him sort of as late as he could and just kicked on and won going away. He's a 5-year-old that's improving as well, Solness. So that could be one. Like him winning yesterday was a serious boost for Let's Be Clear About It, I thought, today, and that just didn't materialize at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He seemed like a nice old fella too in that interview.
Yeah, he did.
To be fair to him, and he's obviously got plenty of experience there in the flat as well.
Yeah.
So he, for a fella with only 3 rides over obstacles, he's got a nice bit of experience behind him on the flat. Nor Borging. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Killian. You might correct me on it if I am.
I don't know. I was trying to block that out from memory, to be honest, after he beat Calaconte, to be honest. So
You
I
were
don't
heavy
know.
on Calacanty, were you?
I was, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was a bad beat now, to be honest. But he was very impressive. Like again, really good ride from Richard Deegan, and the owners, there's 2 runners in the last 2 days, and they both won. So that's very good. I think their last 3 runners over obstacles have all won. They had another one from Gordon there last weekend as well, Bob Cigar. So they're probably the owners should be in the green as well. So yeah, I think it was an interesting race. Like they were miles clear of third, and there was a lot of sort of weird punting in that race. Like Nara for Henry de Bromhead, the JP filly, she was backed from a big price into like 3 to 1, and then went off 11 to 2. There was I don't know, an awful lot of money for Batman Girac for some reason, I don't know why. And then the Mulrine horse really underperformed as well. So the top 2 pulled miles clear, and like you were thinking coming at second last, how far Carla Conti, like she looks really, really good here. She's had the run of the race, she's led all the way, and then your man just picks her up and beats her. But she's probably £4 wrong at their weights as well. She was carrying a penalty. So if they were to meet at Christmas in the grade 2, he'd be £4 wrong. So you'd be sort of fancying her to overturn that, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was a very good performance from him. He wasn't stopping at the line.
No, and I remember when we did our jockey rankings a small bit earlier in the year, there was a couple of comments saying that Mark Walsh, why was he so far up on our list? I think we both had him in the top 3. But for anybody watching racing closely over the weekend will realise why he was so far up in both of our lists. He had 4 winners at Fairyhouse: Corbett's Cross, Great Ride; Waterford Whisper, Super Ride; Risk Bell yesterday as well, and then he had Common Practice today. Killian, for me it was Waterford Whispers that really stood out, because he wasn't in a great position. He was sort of stuck on the inside, and it looked for all the world that he was sort of falling away. But really, Mark was only biding his time. And once he jumped the last, he was able to pull him out, and he just took off like a very good horse, to be honest. But just the way he was so patient, and bided his time and made the move at the right stage, I thought was very impressive. And that was probably the ride of the weekend for me, to be honest. Gavin Sheehan could feel a hair bit done by there, but I thought that was super.
Yeah, you're wrong, Gavin Sheehan there, to be
Well, watch
honest.
it back.
I
Watch
know.
it back.
I saw the race. It was a brilliant ride from Mark Walsh, and again, that's why he's one of the best in the business. And I think he gets a bit of unfair criticism given the owner he rides for. He's not trying on every horse. It's simple as that, and that's not his fault. It's instructions from above. So, I think that, yeah, when Mark Walsh wants to win, Mark Walsh will win.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you put him
Okay.
riding as Willie's number one, people are raving about Mark Walsh. Like if you swap him for Townend, they'd be saying what a
They would,
rider
yeah.
Mark Walsh is.
He is good enough. He
Yeah,
certainly is good enough for
absolutely.
that. But yeah, Maximus was another winner in the JP McManus colours just after naming out four of them there. He had another one, but Jody McGarvey was on board this time. Obviously, in the Grade 1 Drinmore Chase, found a 50, was second. Let's be clear about a third, and Sharjah disappointing in fourth. But I am Maximus to win a Grade 1 over that trip after winning an Irish National is very impressive, Killian.
Yeah, Jesus. Like you could say, was he a small bit overlooked in it? I don't think so. I think an Irish national winner going back into this type of race, even against novices, you'd be saying like can't win. Like, and yeah, he was like he made a mistake out the back at one stage, and it looked like his race was over. He was falling backwards, and then he just doesn't stop. And like, let's be clear about it, really, really disappointing. Like again, got the run in the race, and just couldn't just kick away at all. So you'd be really disappointed in him. Found a 50, maybe he's just not a grade one horse. I sort of had a suspicion he wasn't, and then I am Maximus picked up the pieces and just like you get a horse like him, like if other horses are faltering, he's not going to be stopping late on, even at this trip.
No.
He might have got a small bit outpaced earlier, but like he jumps like a pig as well. His jumping is it's awful, really. Like he's getting away with this, like he's going like he jumped a lot to his left, I thought today, and like it doesn't make a difference. Like I don't know, like maybe Henrietta Knight was right all along with this horse. Maybe everything Henrietta Knight bought for Gretsch was a top horse. Maybe she's a genius, but like this lad seems to have bundles of talent, and to go win an Irish national and like all out of the line, and then to come back and win over an intermediate trip, it shows he's got stacks of it, really, doesn't it? So
stacks of it.
It'd be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, it will. It'll be very interesting actually to see where they place him. He'll probably, he'll be a novice for the rest of the year. He'll be a novice for the rest of the year anyway.
No, he's not. He's not finished today.
Oh, was today the final day?
He won the Irish National.
Yeah, and it was today the final day for
tomorrow. Is it done? Yeah, today was the final day.
Well, I didn't know the cutoff was. I know he won the Irish National, but I didn't know the cutoff was the 3rd of December. Is that what it is?
It's always the Royal Bond meeting. He's 12-1 for the Savills.
12-1 for the Savills. Okay.
Yeah, he did a bit of form in Leopardstown last year, didn't he? He was beaten by the Grey Horse Gentleman's Game, and he was beaten by Mighty Potter over 2 Mile 5 in the DRF as well. I don't know. Maybe he'll go to the Savills.
Yeah, and another
He's
horse
entitled to.
Sorry,
he's entitled to.
Of course he is. Yeah, of course he is. Another horse killing with a lot of class is Teahupoo. Back-to-back wins in the Hattons Grace. He was the hungrier horse today. He just really wanted it. He's a real proper stayer. Saw out the trip extremely well. I thought he could have been tapped for toe a small bit, but not a bother to him. And he's just got the right attitude that you want in a racehorse. Yeah,
savage attitude. I'd say he's one of the most underrated horses in training. Like I think when he'd some really good form. Like, I don't know how many times has he won, like 6 or 7 graded races now, out of like 13. So he's 8 wins, and I think 7 of them are in graded races.
Yeah.
He won a 4-year-old hurdle first, and then he's won 7 graded races. Like,
Yeah. And
I think people
only 6 years of
people
age.
use a stick to beat him. He was hammered in a champion hurdle on fucking quick ground. Like, everyone
Yeah.
knows he's not a horse for quick ground. His form on soft and on heavy is absolutely outrageous, really.
Yeah.
And like, you can't say that, oh, just because he was hammered in a champion hurdle and in a Punchestown champion hurdle, that he's not classy. Like, he obviously had the class to line up in them races. He was rated 162 when he went to Cheltenham.
Mm.
To run the champion hurdle, he just didn't get the ground. So like, you have to factor that in. And then so he obviously had the speed to compete at 2 miles, and he's able to stay at 3 miles. He's everything you want in a horse, really. And like, the performance today was it better than last year's?
Um, was it? Probably not. I don't know. I'd say it's a much of a much. I don't know if it's much better, to be
I
honest.
I reckon it was.
Do you?
Yeah, I haven't seen the figures for it, but
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
purely on the fact that we know Honeysuckle was probably 10 pounds below her best last year, below her peak last year, and Classical Dream got fucking got hammered in the stairs before winning at Punchestown, like he always does in Punchestown. But
Yeah.
I just think maybe that this was another career best from Teahupoo.
Possibly.
And like, we spoke to Rob Atchison and the Rob Core stable towards the start of the year. Rob gave him a 12-1 for the stairs, which was really, in hindsight, I know it's hindsight, but like, it was a stupid price at
Yeah.
12. I remember
It's
Marie's
not
Rock
even
was 8 to
hindsight.
1.
I think we would have agreed on that at
Oh
the
no,
time.
I agreed. I said Marie's Rock was 8 to 1 and
Yeah.
Teahupoo. So if you saw what Marie's Rock did on
Yeah,
Friday
yeah.
below in Newbury, come on,
Newbury, yeah.
like, you're
Yeah.
having a laugh.
And like,
It's again going back to
yeah.
being underestimated.
Yeah, well, people have been talking too about this stay in hurling division and how weak it is, how poor it is. It's there for the winning and all that, but nobody was talking about Chupu, which is playing wrong, really. And just to go back on one thing there that you said about the champion hurdle, like, and the horse being underappreciated and underestimated. I was listening to RT Radio 1 in the car today when the racing was on, and I'm not sure who it was, but she was talking away and she was saying that it was disappointing for National Hunt Racing, really, that Impera Passe was bet that Chupu finished last in the champion hurdle. And that they were hoping that Impera Passe would be a horse that would be competing for a champion hurdle here in Cheltenham in March. But to just go back to that champion hurdle where he finished last on ground that was too quick for him and forget everything else that he's done in the meantime, I thought was just a small bit odd.
Bizarre.
Yeah, but look, we'll move
Bizarre.
on from that, Killian. We'll keep the pace of it up now. Won't drag on too long. But Fairyhouse, you were quite impressed with the facilities, as you mentioned. What impressed me on Friday evening was when they put out their ground report on Twitter. They said that they were after moving one fence and one hurdle on the track. I don't know exactly where, but the reason behind it was that they essentially wanted to have one less obstacle that could be hampered by low sun. So it's great to see courses sort of planning
Proactive.
ahead, proactive, planning ahead, using their heads and just trying to give the best possible product, to jockeys, trainers, horses, and racing fans.
100%, yeah. And like, there was a glaring sun there today, and not one single obstacle was omitted. It was great to see.
Savage. That wraps up our green. So we'll move on to the amber there, Killian. And we start off with the horse we just spoke about. So we won't go into too much detail on him, but Imperial Passe is in the amber because, like, it's hard to know. He was good and I'm sure he'll improve from the run, but I would think that he's definitely one to be stepping back in trip and not stepping up in trip, because if he was to go to a stairs hurdle and meet Chupu again over 3 miles, there would only be one horse that I'd be fancying.
Yeah, I agree with you. Sure, he's going back. He's going back to 2 miles. He could be a champion hurdle horse. We don't know. Like, um,
Yeah. Well, he
the,
won the Ballymore, to be fair, like a
yeah,
horse
but
you'd be
there's
thinking
no
in the
reason to
back.
say that like. But the Ballymore, like Willie has said it before, Ballymore he puts his speed horse in. It's a bit of a speed test.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think there's no point completely knocking him saying like this lad can't beat Constitution Hill. We don't know. Like he could easily go to Christmas or go to the DRF and beat Stateman. And if he's better than Stateman, he's going to be closer than Stateman was, wasn't it? Like so,
Yeah, it
like to
was.
say that
Yeah.
he's got beaten, like he's got outstayed by a 3 miler, really. At the end of the day. And that's not knocking Teahupoo. He's obviously classy and he won the race last year, but like he got outstayed. He's going back in trip. Like he's not going up in trip. He's not staying at this trip. So I don't I don't think there's any reason to be completely knocking him Perry Pass.
No,
No.
no. And we've got Nicky Henderson race planning also in the Amber. Obviously Newcastle was called off. Constitution Hill, I saw in an interview, he was talking about Constitution Hill saying he doesn't mind going through Christmas hurdle without a run. That's no bother. He'll be fine. But he was very worried about Shishkin, and he says that he needs to get a run into Shishkin, and he says there's nowhere for him to run between now and Christmas, or well, very close to now, we'll say, because if you leave it too much longer, he won't be able to run him and have him fresh then for the King George. But now he's talking about running Shishkin over hurdles, Killian.
Yeah, but that's just a lie. There is a race from like the Peterborough Chase is there next Sunday.
Yeah, well, he doesn't fancy it because he says there's nowhere for him.
But yeah, that's there. Like that is a fact, a complete fact. It is there from. Like fair enough. Go over Ireland if you want. He's going to be outpaced after a furlong if he does start. Like Shishkin went from being one of the most exciting horses in training to being like a banter horse or something. Like he was basically unbeaten until he pulled up in the championship. But people are laughing now. Like after the last day, like
yeah, and I don't get that either.
I don't either.
He refused to run. Like, what about it? He's a Grade 1 winner last year. To be
won 2 Grade 1s last year.
Yeah. So, was it 2 Grade 1s or was his first race not a Grade 2?
No, he won the Ascot or the Ascot Chase.
Okay.
And he bet Victoria by about 20 lengths.
Yeah, and that was a Grade 1.
Grade 1, yeah, and he won the entry.
Okay, yeah, I know, yeah. So like running them over hurdles is nearly Pat Kelly stuff.
I'd say Nicky Henderson and Pat Kelly have a very similar liquid intake, and you can make that what you will. Maybe Nicky is on a bit too much brandy these days because run him over hurdles.
I'd say Nicky Henderson wears Pat Kelly pajamas to bed.
Yeah, he probably does. When is he
going to twist?
Is he going to twist the fences around in fucking Sandown for or Newbury for a race course gallop?
That was iconic, though.
That was famous, yeah. But sure, you had to do it.
Yeah. Sure, you had nothing else to do.
No, absolutely not.
There
was no race for him.
No race for him. No race for him at all. No. Killian, finally, in the Amber, we've got Hermes Allen. I don't particularly agree with him being in the Amber.
You want to put him in the red?
No, I'd have him in the green. It was over 2.5 miles. He was too big of a price, first of all. But second of all, he did everything right. He jumped very well for the second half of the race and stayed on very well. Now, they're saying that he's a quicker horse than we think he is and whatever. But I'd very much like to see him step up in trip. I think he could be much better over 3 miles, to be honest. But I thought that performance for first time over fences, that deserves the green.
I can tell you why you want the horse in the green.
Sir Alex.
There's a man in the ownership called Sir Alex Ferguson. That's why you want the horse in the green.
No, not. No,
that's why
he was in my 10 to follow last year.
Yeah, that's why he was in your 10 to follow picking Sir Alex Ferguson.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It was. 100%.
It was because he was way overpriced for I think you had him down for the 3 mile, the Albert Bartlett 2 last year.
Yeah.
But
he was hammered in Cheltenham and he was well beaten in entry. Like fair enough, Irish Point beat him. Katira was second for the Skeltons, and she's very ordinary, really. Like, she's
Yeah.
been beaten twice now. Like, she got beaten in a listed mares race there the last day over 3 miles. Come on.
They really never should have ran him in the Ballymore though. I don't think. Had they stepped him up to the Albert Bartlett,
But
he
sure,
would
he'd
have
the
won.
Bartlett winner. Like, he probably knew he'd the Bartlett winner, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, well, he could have had the one too. I'd say Harman's that, but
He
look,
might have came 12th in the Bartlett.
no, I don't agree with you there. I think he's a nice horse.
He's grand, but we've seen this before. Like,
He'll win a
go
Grade
back
One
to,
this year, anyhow.
he won't stop. He
I'd
won.
say
He
he will.
go back to Captain Teague there. He won the Persian War in Chepstow, and I put him in the Amber. And there was people commenting saying, "Oh, why is he in the Amber?" And no, like, he was ordinary, and Hermes Allen is ordinary. Like, he wouldn't win a Grade 2 in Ireland.
Mm. All
He
right.
won't win a Grade 1 either.
Oh, he would.
No,
He would indeed.
no,
I think you're being very harsh on him
no,
there.
I'm not.
Uh,
Don't buy into the hype. Don't
I
back this horse for a race at Cheltenham, please.
well, no, I'd agree unless you think that he's going to be stepped up to 3 mile and
No,
you're
don't
very
back him for
keen
the
on.
RSA. Don't do it. Don't stop.
Um, well, look, I think he's a nice horse. Might win at Cheltenham, but he will win a Grade One this year. I'd be firm on that.
The Cotto Star.
So that's another thing actually where we've compiled a little list. We'll show you the next day of things that we sort of disagree on to follow over the course of the year. And Hermes Allen winning a Grade One will be on
But what Grade 1 is he going to win?
it. I don't know. He'll win something. Maybe
Which
enter.
one though? Like, name the Grade 1, like.
I'm not telling you which one. I don't know what one exactly he's going to win. I wouldn't fancy him at Cheltenham.
So is he going to win an
But
entry
yeah, possibly. And
against
and
Irish
and and
horses?
and if they step him up to 3 miles, he's got a chance in the RSA. Definitely. I do like this horse.
I'd have 10 before him in the RSA. I'd find 10.
Okay. Well, we'll see. He probably won't go there
Future, if
anything
Alex
because he thinks it's
Ferguson
fast.
sold his share in the horse tomorrow, you wouldn't like the horse.
No, you're right. You're absolutely wrong there, anyway. You're absolutely
You
wrong.
would, like.
We're moving on here because you're wrong. So first in the red is Killian because he's wrong. No, the Royal Bond Hurdle is in the red. Of those horses that ran there today, none of them will achieve anything over hurdles or over fences in Grade Ones ever again over 2 miles. Farren Glory, he probably is the best of them over 2 miles. King of Kingsfield is not going to achieve. He was second, bet 1.5 lengths. He's not going to achieve anything over 2 miles again. On Tubber isn't. Bialystock is exposed. He is what he is, and like he was bet 3 lengths. It wasn't a Grade 1. It wasn't a Grade 1. And like we had a great renewal of it last year at Marine Nationale and Irish Point. But if you were to look at the 10 years before that, it'd be similar to what we looked at today. I think it's probably a Grade 2 quality race, to be honest. But that's how I feel on it. Killian, I don't know if you have anything else to say on that or we move on.
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of 2.5 milers and 3 milers in the race. The winner and the third are definitely 2.5 mile plus horses. I thought Jordan Gainford gave King Kingsfield an unbelievable ride today. And the only criticism I have was he might have got there a tiny bit too soon, but I'd say he'd absolutely no choice because October was coming back to him. But like to say like King Kingsfield was beaten in 2 maiden hurdles and like he was kicked aside by Slade Steele by bet 5.5 lengths and he got beaten by Redstone there the first time out, and Redstone couldn't even land a blow in a novice hurdle on Saturday against Waterford Whispers. He was hammered. Like he's of no use at all, really, I'd say, Redstone. So like to say he got beaten in both of those and he comes and wins or comes second in a Grade 1 and nearly lands it like from a really, really good ride. Like just holding him up has made a big difference because he probably just about gets the 2 miles, to be honest. He needed a really good ride anyway. But I'd say Farren Glory might be potentially the best of them at any trip. I'd say if he went up to 2.5 miles, I know he started off in 2.5 miles in a Grade 2 on hurdle debut, and he was well beaten behind one of yours, Nick Rocket. But like his maiden hurdle win was 2.5 miles on Bottomless in Clonmel, the the day of the Clonmel Oil. Like he beat Irish Panther that day, and like that was real testing ground. So he's definitely one to go back up in trip. And then on Tubber, small bit disappointing because, as we said, it probably was a weak race, but again, not a 2-miler. Like he couldn't have won his maiden hurdle over 2 miles any easier, but definitely one to go up and trip as well. So I'd say you're probably right saying that none of them achieve anything over 2 miles, but I'd say there might be one or two good horses in it. First and third would be the two I'd be looking at anyway.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on first and third. Batman Girac also was punted off the boards in the 3-year-old hurdle, and he's probably still running around Fairyhouse, Killian.
Yeah, he's rotten, completely and utterly rotten. That's the best way I could describe him.
Yeah.
I saw him in the ring. He looked actually really nice. Looked really nice stamp of a horse, but he was on his toes and he had a hood on as well. I don't think Willie's too fond of putting a hood on the first day. Like, I don't think anyone is fond of putting the hood on the first day, but yeah, he couldn't jump and he's just pulling and he's rotten to the core. You can never back him again. And he was well punted, like Calaconte.
Tell us what you really think, Killian.
That would don't start me. Like Calaconte, I know she was beaten, but like she shouldn't have really gone off 11-4 when he was 7-4. You know, like they flip flopped completely. So someone in Willie's obviously fancied this lad, and like test your eyes. You know.
Yeah. Master Chewy, another horse you really don't like. Bet again.
Another rotten horse. He's real ungenuine. He went off a very short price. I didn't back him. I couldn't back him after what he did the last day in Aintree. But I had a suspicion that they potentially blew the mark by winning by so far in Cheltenham, but he just has no interest in winning races. He hosed up that day, or not in Cheltenham, in Aintree. He hosed up that day in a handicap, small runner field, and just kicked on and got it easy on his own in front. And there the last day, like, you know, they tried to hold him up and he was sort of running on, but never getting to elixir the nuts. And you can't back him again. 137. You probably get one or two more. So 140, he's not better than that. Stop.
He's as high now as he's fully exposed after that Mark one would.
I think so. Yeah.
And right, so finally, Killian, we've got Sharjah in the red. I don't entirely agree with it, to be honest. He's got the ability over the course of the year to throw in a bit of a stinker here or there, and then come back. He'll produce better runs than that this year. That's the way I look on it, and he's going to be a nice price probably too. I'd be looking at now at Leopardstown, and depending on what turns up, I presume he's got an entry, but he's one that'll be a big price that I probably take a punt on each way, purely because he's got this ability in him to throw in a stinker, and he'll be a nice big price. He's 20-1 there at the moment if he runs at Leopardstown, or he's 33-1 if he runs in the Faheen Chase down at Limerick.
No, he's just not. Like, he deserves to be in the red for what he did today. Like, he's 10 rising 11. He got his couple of wins there in the summer and the autumn before the good horses came out, and like they've battered him today. Like, he's not, obviously isn't the horse he was last year. You can point to saying, oh, he ran a really good race behind Constitution Hill in Aintree, but that was on good ground. He's not going to be able to get 2.5 miles in the winter on soft ground, to be honest. And even if he goes back to 2 miles, I don't know, is he quick enough anymore?
Yeah, hard to know. He is 10 turn 11, all right, and what that he does have age against them, but he's a very classy horse over hurdles, and
he was a great horse.
His jumping over fences really hasn't been, you couldn't fault it too much. So it depends if he's got the engine there or not.
No.
And I would look. We see what turns up. But all I'm saying is my eye definitely would still be drawn to him. I wouldn't be putting a line through him, and I probably, while that run alone deserves to be in the red, the horse itself doesn't, as far as I'm concerned. But
no, Killian, he does. He definitely does. Like, Killian, at the end of the day, he was placed in 2 champion hurdles. Like, that's really good stuff. And I think he'd have ran a good race the year he was brought down by Boover there. But no, he goes into the red. He's finished.
We'll see. We'll see if he turns up at Christmas. I think you get a nice each way price on him anyway. But that wraps up.
Christmas.
Sorry?
Each way better Christmas, perhaps.
No. We'll hold off on that. But look, that wraps up this week's episode. I hope you all enjoyed listening to it. We might be back on Friday again with our preview show, Killian. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I need to talk about Sheehan in the fighting fifth.
But look, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Let us know in the comments what you think. And we'll see you next time. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Bye.
It's Hennessy.